And
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully from it, people will go, he's a fascinating fellow. We must contact him. And
Okay.
these two are fascinating blokes. We must listen to more of their podcasts and give them money. Hello there and welcome. I always sound like Billy Connolly when I do that bit. Episode, I keep doing this and I forget every time. It's 9 or 10.
It's
I know
nine
I
or ten.
forget. It's
Nine or
9 or 10, I'm sure. I think it's 10. I think it's episode 10. I definitely haven't got two that I still need to edit, and that's why I've forgotten. Anyway, yeah, my name's Ross Brown, and you're listening to Brown and Marsh. I've worked in marketing for 30, we're going for 35 years now, I think. I have to keep saying 30, but then I realise how old I am. So let's say 35 years marketing, everything from strategy through to web development, copywriting, design, video, audio, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. And my beautiful, gorgeous co host.
I'm Chris Marsh, 25, 26 years in new business sales, mostly Manchester for tech, digital, and creative companies. So, yeah, I operate as a sole trader, freelance business development now.
And basically, we both know what we're talking about. We've done this for a very, very long time. Yeah, annoyingly, Chris has held onto his hair much better than I have. So we do like to do a little tip or trick or something like that, something helpful. And because I haven't thought of anything yet. Chris, what's your
Okay.
tip for this week?
I'll give you a couple of minutes to think of one. Yeah, well, mine is based off a post I did actually earlier this week, and it was just saying I think I heard it on the radio, and they said, the more I practice, the luckier I get. And I love that. And that was a saying by a South African golfer called Gary Player,
Gary.
he very famously said it. And I thought, do you know what? When I'm out networking, I often think, oh, I'm almost practicing networking. I don't take it too seriously. I just think I'll just go and it's just a practice run. It doesn't matter. It's a small networking event. It doesn't matter who I meet or what I say. I might make a mistake. I'm not going to be I'm not the finished article. It's not polished, but the more I practice, I'll eventually get good at it. It's like anything. You
Yeah.
want to practice playing you've got a lovely guitar behind you. You keep practicing and practicing and practicing, you're going to get better at it. And that's my attitude to networking. So, but for me, networking is about the results that you get out of it. So the more I go to networking, the like I said, the luckier I get, and I'm going to get results out of it. So my attitude is just to don't take it too seriously. Keep going. You will make mistakes along the way, but just keep doing it. Keep going, and see you will get the results.
And see, I've now got inspiration because I'm going to take a quote, but it's a similar kind of vibe. It's a Steve Jobs quote, so the guy who set up Apple. And I think it was when they were building the first Mac, so about 83, 84. And the guys were obsessing over it. I mean, he was obsessing over it as well, but the guys were obsessing over it, and every final last detail had to be absolutely perfect. And he just said, great artists ship, get the product out the door.
Mm,
It might not be 100% perfect,
mm,
but you're selling it. And I think sometimes that applies to marketing or to products or to, business development, whatever. Sometimes you have to go, we need to get on with this because that extra 30% of effort might only put an extra 1% on the results. So you get to a certain point where it's as good as it needs to be. I'm not saying it's shoddy, but it's as good as it needs to be. Nothing's ever perfect. And I think sometimes, especially when we're professional, we've done this for a long time, it's like, you can do better. Yeah, you probably could, given an infinite amount of time, monkeys and typewriters and thing. But, sometimes it's good enough to get the damn thing out the door.
Okay, okay. So just not overthinking. Is that what you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, if something's 99% there, it's probably good enough for 85, 90% of people. Somebody else might want that one feature or that one different thing on the website. But do you know what? The length of time it'll take you to add that extra thing, the amount of sales you'll lose, just get the
Yeah.
bloody thing launched,
Get it
get
done.
the brochure printed, whatever it may
Just
be.
JFDI.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Just effing do it.
There we
You-
go.
If we ever do merchandise, should we do that on wristbands or something? Brown and Marsh, JFDI.
JFDI. Why not?
Yeah, well, it's either going to be, or it's going to be t-shirts with visibility creates opportunity.
You said it.
No,
You
what
said
makes
it.
a change? It's normally you that says it.
It's
So
normally me saying
it is.
that my favourite phrase.
It's
Is it?
right though. I mean, we do
Yeah.
actually talk some rubbish on this, but every now and again there's a pearl of wisdom, and it's usually that, to be honest with you.
Well, I'll keep saying it then.
Yeah, whether I'm saying anything or not, you'll keep saying it. Do you want to hand over to our guest?
I was just about to say, I'm sure our guest also has some wonderful phrases. There's one that sticks in my mind with our next guest, and had a massive impact on my life, and that was impossible to inevitable, eye to eye, and perhaps he'll mention that as part of his story. But as I say, it's something that's really sort of stuck with me, and for a few reasons. So, Simon Calderbank, welcome to the Brown and Marsh podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. And how are you today?
I'm great, guys, and I was just chuckling when you talked about JFDI. That's we're back to one chapter of my career where working with the force of nature that is Michael De Paula, Studio North, and we did a campaign, a hashtag JFDI campaign, and we sent out some wonderful mugs with those exact words on it, and it was really well received. Some people went, "What does it mean?" Okay, but most people got the sentiment behind it. Some people sent them back.
Did they?
I've still got mine somewhere, and I keep mugs. You know, you have moments in your life where you're thinking, "Yeah, that's a really good memento of what we did." And my partner goes, "It's just a mug." And I'm all, "Guy, it's not just a mug. It's a mug that's got memories." You know, so for example, FA Cup final, I got the Kobe Mainu mug from the merch guy. So every time I drink from that mug, all I think of is beating Man City in the FA Cup final, and all those memories come flooding back.
Are we going to
Cheers
have an
to
hour
that.
of this
Cheers
propaganda
to
from
that.
United?
There's
United
power
fans.
I
in
mean,
a mug. When people say they're mugged off, I always think, no, you're missing the point. A mug has meaning. It has
Love that.
memories. So
Love
yeah, so
that.
JFDI is very powerful for me, and
can
I
we
still
stop
say that
inviting
to people
United
now.
fans on? Can we please?
It's
Because
just a segue. It was just a segue to the segue. No,
I'm just
it's
worried.
great to be here. Football allegiance is out of the window.
Thank you, Simon. So both Chris and I have known you for a good few years.
Yeah.
Weirdly, we only realised recently we've both known you for a good few years. You're just one of those people, Si. You just kind of weave in and out of people's lives like I don't know, passing ship in the night. You sprinkle your fairy dust and then beggar off again, not to be seen.
At least you didn't say snake.
Mate, I wouldn't say that about you, I assure you. So, I
Liver.
mean, I know a bit about your background. I'm sure Chris knows a little as well. We probably both know a lot. But most people on here side probably haven't heard of you. I mean, it's a shocker, I know. So give us a flavour of your background, where you've come from and where you are today.
Where have I come from? Good Lord. I've come from, in terms of geographically, North
Well,
Manchester
yeah.
as a start. North Manchester, first job, cleaning hearses, as in funeral cars, and then got upgraded to clean bodies.
Ooh.
So that was my first taste, wrong word, my first experience
Maybe taste wasn't the right one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of nicely juxtaposed with working at the first Wimpy in Manchester as well, in Manchester City Centre. So yeah, so basically flipping burgers and flipping bodies was kind of my first experience
Wow.
of real work. And so I suppose you could say at the heart of everything I did was
Oh,
people,
Jesus.
be they dead or alive. I always serve people. I've always enjoyed serving people, and whether that's in an undertaker's, a burger bar, a Red Order shop, a nightclub, a restaurant, BT. It's like reeling them off in terms of all the places I've worked. Always it's been customer centric.
Yeah.
And you just think that's what I do, that's what I'm like, that's what I'm good at. And then it just sometimes takes a moment, a tipping point in your life when you sort of think, why do I do this, and why am I drawn to helping people? And I look back on my upbringing. I talked about being from North Manchester, but I was raised as me and my sister and mum, and then my auntie joined us when my nana died. So I had three fascinating women, really, I suppose, nurturing me and feeding me quite literally with
Yeah.
And yeah, their influence on me was huge. And my mum and auntie both worked in the great department store that was Lewis's, not John Lewis's, the
Oh yeah.
original Lewis's, which I think is now Primark. So they were always, again, very heavily focused on looking after people. And I think that really sort of like it rubbed off on me. And when you live with, your family, you are nurtured and conditioned. There was no dad. Dad left when I was about 4, 5. And stepdad didn't move in till I think my mum went to hospital for a hysterectomy. So I got my stepdad and me kind of connected when I was about 13, 14 over an ironing board, no less. He taught me how to iron a handkerchief, things you remember. So yeah, it was a female-driven environment, and I think that really, I suppose, gave me the skill set and the tools to always want to help people because that's what they did.
And what
So
do you?
therefore,
What?
it was
How
natural
would you define what you do now?
helping people. It's the same.
Okay.
It's just in a different guise. So pretty much like Chris, and Chris and I have known each other, God, getting on like 16 years now. But I've always done, I say done. I've always helped solving people's problems,
Mm.
and I've always done that through business development or sales or client relationships. But ultimately, if people give me a problem, I am wired to go back and sort that. Now that's really good in a business sense. But in a sort of personal relationship sense, sometimes it can be really helpful. Other times people might go, just want you to listen. I know your instinct is to help solve the problem, but just park it and just
It's
listen.
a guy thing. I was talking to my girlfriend about this because she's like that. If you tell her something, she tries to fix it for you, whereas I tend to sit back and listen. And it's like we've completely reversed roles because traditionally it's the bloke who goes, "Oh no, I will fix this," whereas it's Liz going, "Oh no, I will fix this," but in a Lancastrian accent. Um, so, so you've gone from jobs to the modern day, but the muck jobs, the hearse cleaning, the wimpy, etc. But what was your first proper, in quotes, industry job?
I think my first proper industry job was working in retail. So I got the chance to work for a really sort of cool independent family firm called Zip Code. Now, Zip Code were one of the sort of pioneers in the sort of early to mid 80s in Manchester, selling American Levi's. That's all he did was Levi's. So it was very much pioneering that sort of 50s revival that happened in the sort of early 80s, around the time when Morrissey was doing his stuff and basically James Dean was popular. I mean, I had a huge crush on James Dean. He adorned all my walls. So to get the chance to work in an American jeans shop was like, oh, hallelujah moment. So yeah, that was my first real experience of, I suppose, of earning money, what I'd say in a more professional basis, on a full-time basis. And that was a real game changer for me because it wasn't just about working in the shop. It was about working in an area of Manchester, which as a young teenager, I used to go to Afflecks Palace every Saturday. Literally there was 4 or 5 of us and it was like a hunch. You get the bus into town, you walk around Afflecks, you pick up stuff that you're going to wear then when you went out on a Saturday night back into Manchester. So to actually get the chance to work there for me it was almost like full circle. I
Mm.
think I was probably what's the word I'm looking for? I think I was overawed when I got the chance. Oh, we've got a stall in Affleck. Affleck? Well, I'm going to work in Affleck. So for me, that was a real sort of rite of passage. And you met so many people. Obviously, all the stall holders. I felt like I'd landed. It felt like I'd found home
Found your
in
tribe.
terms of that. Yeah, really, yeah. And there was a whole host of oddballs. I mean, proper freaks. I was sensible and like straightforward. On the outside, but obviously it wasn't internally. I was mad as a box of frogs. But I was just around people who I could feel myself with and be myself with. And when you're confident in your environment, it's amazing then how you find yourself. And from somebody who was, I wouldn't say I was painfully shy, which people probably think, really? But when I was a sort of mid-teenager, it's like most teenage lads, not really sure which direction to take. And I think a lot of teenage boys, Morrissey and the Smiths and all that era, allowed me to, I suppose, express myself. I just turned into a James Dean clone.
It's easy to say, so I can understand, yeah.
Well, I've gone back. It's like I looked at pictures of me when I was 17, 18, thinking, yeah, I've just gone full circle again. Thank God I've still got the same look as I had all those 40 years ago. Jesus.
Yeah.
So that was me. That was my first start with Afflecks. And then from that, I got picked up by Red or Dead, the Wayne Hemingway. And I then started to zip code kind of went down a different route. The American jeans market wasn't as popular. A lot of other people doing it. So working for Wayne and Geraldine, his partner, his wife, again was just same location, just a different brand. And that again was like going a level up. Because then you get to understand how a business has started off in the market stall suddenly became like a global icon. And I was part of that. And that was just unbelievably great fun, sort of seeing how that works and the mechanics behind it and seeing what primarily was Doc Martens. You know, it wasn't even his invention. He just innovated Doc Martens. And then we were selling like, God, kickers. We revitalized kickers. I mean, it's shameful to think about it now, but we revitalized kickers. God, there's all greasy Doc Martens, leather jackets. Our stock inventory was quite minimal, and yet I've never seen so much money change hands as it used to do every Saturday in that little market stall. I'm talking several thousands upon thousands, all cash or checks, because cards then weren't really they weren't a thing. It was checks or cash.
This is one of these shows where we can go out, isn't it, Chris? We can go for a walk, go for lunch. No, it is fascinating, and you can't really complain when somebody comes on and just talks. So I want to interrupt so people know we're still here.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt him. He's fascinating. I always thought that about Calder. So he's fascinating. He's got
a lovely time of your life. So lovely time of your life. And,
it must have really helped you sort of identify your own personality. Who is Simon Calderbank? Like you say, sort of growing up as that teenager, being in retail, and then being part of this huge recognisable brand. And they were doing quite immersive stuff, like you say, with kickers. I mean, you go to high school in the 90s, and everyone was wearing kickers, or they wished they were wearing kickers. So what happened after that? What did the sort of early 2000s look like for you?
Well, having done retail, and then obviously from the Red or Dead, that's when you're in that social scene. I think that was the key aspect. Another aspect of working there was you worked hard and you played hard because you just went out. You know, in them days, you just went out, and then you'd normally roll into work the next day having not been home. I mean, you'd slept, but so there was very much a social environment, which again really gave me the chance to blossom. Again, find my sort of spirit. Ran clubs. So the clubs were run from Red or Dead in terms of the promotion, because talk about a joint venture, a club promoter starting from scratch, but having a place called Red or Dead and they were cool. They said, yeah, you sell your tickets and that might bring in customers. I'm thinking, God, that's brilliant. Yeah. So clubs went into restaurants. Someone said, you should write a book called The Master of Reinvention. So yeah, probably got a good few chapters lined up. But I took a big step in the 90s. I decided to escape the place that I called home, and I went on a big journey down to Henley-on-Thames. Talk about going from a big fire into a small frying pan. Henley-on-Thames was like just a different world again. And
what took you down there?
Train.
Yeah, train. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for that.
I meant it more of a philosophical way.
Depends who you ask. Some people would say I followed you know what, but I went there for love. I also went there because I wanted to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
I'd lived here and worked in Manchester all my life, and I was exhausted. I felt like there was nothing else to give, and I'd gone through one marriage, which was just great at the time. Of course, had lots of implications, and I think it was about how do you escape and rediscover yourself and
reinvent yourself.
The Master of Reinvention. In fact, it was the woman I went down there with who said, "There's your book title." So Henley-on-Thames gave me the chance to discover a new persona, which was more working in the corporate world. Even though I'd always worked in, I mean, not that Red or Dead wasn't corporate, but it was pretty chilled.
Yeah, funky. It was funky.
That's a great word, funky.
I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back, mate.
You are, mate. You are. Get the bass out. And then I
I've
worked
got
for BT.
Galliano going around my head and talking
Get
loud and
in.
all that kind of stuff. Sorry.
Good. Yeah. And then I worked for BT. I went full on corporate, and I absolutely hated it because I had to wear shirt and tie. I had to be formal, and it just didn't suit. So again, breaking through that, trying to introduce new patterns of working with
So was that
challenging.
BT, do you say?
BT, yeah.
What were you doing
Um,
there?
God, selling mobile phones and small office, home office systems. And the weirdest thing is, even though I was selling telecoms, and you'll find this ironic, you couldn't use the phone to make appointments. Talk about back to front. You had to go and knock on people's doors. And small office, home office meant you were knocking on people's front doors. Like, you know,
Hello, do you work from
whoever.
home?
Number of times I got doors shoved in my face.
I'm not
Because I was
surprised.
blank,
Yeah.
a northerner working in, I mean, I was given the beautiful area of Slough, and it was sold to me, biggest industrial estate in the UK, probably Europe. You'll make a fortune. I was thinking, oh, brilliant.
Well,
Didn't
anybody who's
make
seen
one.
The Office, isn't that set in Slough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't make one sale.
Hmm.
Didn't make one sale, therefore didn't get any commission. Had a nice car, had some nice gadgets, but I didn't make a penny because everyone I went to in Slough Industrial Estate would go, "Oh, you're from BT, yeah?" Two words, and one ends in off.
Yeah.
So it was it was an interesting baptism of fire into the world of cold calling. And I remember going out of my region. It's almost like I could feel the force behind me, and I just knocked on doors where I thought, "Oh, these look a bit more like me." And one of them was a telecoms company, which I hadn't realised because I was so desperate. And he said, "Great pitch, really likable guy, but you do realise that what you're selling, we sell as well." And I was like, "Oh."
Oh,
And he just said, "But the way you've come in off the street, you've got something about you. How much are you earning?" And I said, "I'm on £8,000 a year." And he just laughed. I was all, "Why is that funny?" He said, "Well, I'm going to put one in front of that eight. I'm going to offer you £18,000. I'm going to give you a choice of Land Rover." I was all, "Why?" He went, "Because you're just what we're looking for."
Amazing.
And that was it. So then I ended up working for this firm for 7 years.
Wow.
They were
still
a
down in where were you at this point? Still in Henley?
the firm was in Basingstoke, so I was still in
Oh,
Henley on
right, yeah.
Thames, and they were a two-way radio, so walkie-talkie hire company. So therefore, it was like all the events you can imagine. So festivals, concerts, sporting events, all the things that I loved. I was going out selling to those people. So again, you said it before, talking about the tribe. I was then given the chance to go and sell into my own tribe. So the first thing I did was, "Is it field sales?" They went, "Yeah, yeah, go wherever you want." So I just
See ya.
back to Manchester
Yeah.
and sold back into, and they were all going, "Oh my God, who are you?" And I was all, "It's me." They went, "Yeah, but what version of you is this?" I was all, "The one who's grown up a little bit,
This is
and
the
the one who's now
corporate
got
version. Yeah.
and I've got a Land Rover that's covered in bloody two-way radios. I look like a cock, but it's still me." And I got a load of business with all my old muckers who were now like big time promoters. So SJM Concerts, they said, "Right, we trust you. We know you. We know what you're capable of. It's yours to lose." And I worked with SJM Concerts, I think, for 6 years. So we did all every concert tour, every festival. Oh my God, it was, I think that was probably one of the most enjoyable periods of my career
So one of the
because
things
you're
we
on the
talk
road
about,
all the time.
so one
Sorry,
of the
go
things we
on.
talk about is mistakes people have made. But it sounds like every time you've made what could be in quotes a mistake, you've come out smelling of roses. You know, or are the things that you view as mistakes, or do you just view them as happy coincidences?
Just opportunities.
Yeah,
There are opportunities for you to, and I think you said at the start of the show, Chris, or was it you, Russ, about, the luckier I get, the better I become. Sometimes you just got to put your nose out there and think, well, what's the worst that can happen? I don't like it, or it
yeah,
doesn't work. I never wanted to go knocking on doors, but I just knew it would be it would open other doors. I
yeah.
didn't know what those doors would be. And yeah, I went off track. I was maverick. I went out of my territory because I was just so desperate to just, earn some kind of commission. And as it was, I went into a business and they just liked the way I did it, even though I was foolish to pitch exactly what they sold. And that lasted for 7 years. I was in that firm, and I still talk, to my old colleagues, and I went from being the guy on the road to actually running it.
Yeah.
So I learned again a great deal of a family-run business. Never saw eye to eye with the boss, but there was a begrudging respect. And there's one thing he taught me. It's a great, great saying, and he said, repetition is the mother of all skills. And I just scoffed at him and went, what are you on about? He said, another one of these stupidisms. And he says, one day you'll tell this story because you'll have understood exactly what it means.
Mm.
And I now do understand what it means.
Mm.
Yeah, repetition is the mother of all skills. And it's so, so true. For me, repetition meant boredom. And because my bias kicked in, because I'd never seen, we'd always had this interesting love-hate relationship. This is the guy who said, don't care what you do, as long as you bring home the bacon, end of the month, you can do whatever you want. So I took him at his word. And after 4 days of being, as he called it, AWOL, what the fuck are you doing? I was all doing what he said. I'm out doing what needs to be done to bring the bacon home. But I can't see you. I said, well, make your mind up.
Mm.
I'm either in the office cajoling the truth, or I'm out on the road cajoling customers. He said, can't you do both? I was all, well, yeah.
Physically, no. Yeah.
No, but you gave it. So that's what all he was doing was pushing me. He was pushing me because he could see something in me that I didn't see. He could see me, the person who could run his ship, the person who could get the best out of his team, the person who would ensure that clients would never go anywhere else because I cared. I was so compassionate about my customers because I wanted people to like me and trust me. Therefore, there was no way I was doing stuff for people on early Sunday mornings. Oh, the radios haven't turned up. Right, okay. Well, I'm not doing the gig in Liverpool. I'm not doing Paul McCartney. Yeah, but you've got radios in Manchester. Can you not sort those radios out? It's not that simple, guys. Can't just move them. They have to be this and that. Yeah, but you can do that because you're Simon Calderbank. Okay. How long have we got? You've got an hour. Then you're ringing up Ofcom on a Sunday morning. Say, look, I need these frequencies changing. Can you get me a license on a Sunday morning? Yeah. What's in it for me? Do you like the Beatles? I do, actually. Right, I can get you backstage passes on the quayside at Liverpool. Well, I'm in Oxfordshire. Don't worry, we'll get you a taxi sorted out.
Wow.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So going above and beyond for people was my fuel. And then my wife was all, what on earth are you doing that for? And I was all, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
She said, what do you get for it? I was all, a sense of purpose, sense of achievement. And knowing that I've helped someone out of a loop, they've only asked me because they know I'll solve it. And that's
Some people
how
would say that as a weakness. They almost say he's a pushover. But I'm the same as you, and I think Chris is nodding as well. It's a strength, and too many people view it as a weakness. Because people can take the piss out of you, if you like that. But it's having the strength of character to go, you're taking the piss out of me. You're doing this far too often, and I'm now covering up for your mistakes.
But
you're not just helping.
Yeah, but the lad who did it, he was so reserved, and he was never the kind of, he was never he was quite a guarded character, the promoter. He said, I wouldn't normally ask you. And I said, look, if I can do it, Roy, I'll do it. It's just going to take a little bit of logistics. It is like 8:30 on a Sunday morning. I've got guests over, My wife thinks I'm a bit of a lunatic anyway. But if I can do it, I will do.
Yeah.
And yeah, the impact of that was mesmeric in terms of anything you ever need. Anything you ever need.
That's another word we're bringing back, mesmeric.
It was
Funky and
lovely.
mesmeric.
I've not talked about that. I mean, God, I thought I'd love to go and see Paul McCartney. Jesus, why? And I remember Sarah, who's now my ex, I said, why aren't we going? I said, because we've got guests. And she went, don't give a shit. So all we did was make sure other people were looked after.
Yeah.
My currency was knowing that I'd served people, and knowing that it would kind of, I think, Chris, you and I used to call it paying it forward. I knew that would be paid forward, and it always was. And that was about
karma.
halfway into my career and at the events business. And those guys looked after me, and I mean looked after me ridiculously. Proper looked after me. I looked after them, but anything, guest list, you sure? Whatever you want. If you want someone to go backstage, you sure? Can I bring my friends backstage at V Festival? Why? Because they're my dear friends, and it'd be a bit weird. I'm still working. Yeah. No worries. You can all pitch together because you're working. That's fine. But they can come on. They can experience the the 5-star food in the big tents with all the, just don't be tongue dropping when they see
don't
you.
take the piss.
Yeah,
If somebody bends over backwards for you, or somebody gives you a favour, don't take the piss out of it.
yeah, and they're the things that, because of what you do for people, people do it back.
Yeah.
I mean, bizarrely, but that weekend, which springs to mind now, we were sat there outside our tent, a little fire going, and we're just having a chit chat, and then just going out, you kind of immersed in your comment. It was kind of dark, and then his face just appears from nowhere. Have you got a light? And we all recoiled, thinking, "Fuck me, it's that guy from Mrs. England, Stephen Graham." And we were all, he said, "You don't mind, do you?" So we spent the weekend with Steve Graham. He literally pitched his tent next to us, and it was like we had like weird bromance and sistermance with this person that we'd watched in This Is England. And they're the moments thinking, I said, this wouldn't have happened, would it? And some said, probably not, no. So when you're nice to people, things come back to you. Karma, paying it forward.
Yeah.
Just being a decent human being. And that's I got that from my mum, my auntie, my sister, and my stepdad, who is my dad.
Yeah.
So being a decent human being is powerful, and I take that into everything I do.
Yeah, but you can't expect it. Well, you can, in a way, you can expect it, but it's almost like you're not doing it for that reason. I know that you're not like that, Colders, that you do it for that reason. But the same token, your supplier, the SJM, they would have wanted to give you that opportunity because it made them feel good as well. They weren't doing it. Oh, we better do this for Simon because he's helped us out. They're doing it because they liked you and they wanted to make you feel as though you were wanted, and it was almost a reward. So it's almost thinking about the expectation. You can't go about doing your job and being the way you are with an expectation, because you're probably going to get let down. I think you have to let go of expectation and just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. It's the saying I mentioned before, the more practice, the luckier I get. Just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
Do the right thing.
It's only on reflection where you realise, oh, I got all these opportunities, and I met Stephen Graham, and I got to this, and I did this with my friends. It's wonderful, isn't it? But that's only when you sort of sit back and reflect.
Yeah, and I've not done that.
Sorry, one of the words that we're sitting looking at in your screensaver behind you, reflect, is the top word there. Yeah,
and that's when you do that, and you get a chance to do that with people. And I remember when I left that business, and I was terrified of letting customers know, because at the end of the day, I got the chance to go and do again another reinvention. And I remember going to SJM and said, "Look, I've got what's great news for me, but not so good news for you. But everything's in play. Nothing's going to change. It just won't be me leading it, but I'll always be around, like in the background, but I won't be." And they went, "Well, this summer then, this is your last summer, isn't it?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "Right, well, on the V Festival then," said, "Obviously, we're not going to stop using your company, but you're not working as all." "Oh, wow, what? Because I'm leaving." "No, you're coming. You're our guest. So you can have anything you want." "What, anything?" "Yeah, do you want to stay in a hotel with us?" "No, I'd rather stay backstage again with the more mates, please." And they went, "Yeah." So I still brought all the kit, still there, still found it difficult not to be. But they went, "This time now," said, "if you want that cheeky spliff or that cheeky drink that you've always had, thinking that we didn't know, but we did, you can do whatever you want." He said, "and we won't be judging you, because your colleagues will be doing the job that you've always done every single summer with aplomb." I said, "What?" He said, "Oh, Simon, we don't miss a trick." I went, "Why?" I said, "Got cameras everywhere, you clown." "You were in silver control." He said, "We just used to go, there he goes, there's a little cheeky one." I said, "But you never let us down, and we didn't mind our suppliers, laying off steam, so long as they never let us down."
Yeah.
So we used to have taps on people. I read a book, and we'd notice, we'd all go, there he is. It's only took him 6 hours today before he's done this, or someone else. And it was a family. And I missed that. And since I've left, I've never, I think I went back in once and asked if I could swap some tickets for a Stone Roses concert at the Etihad, if I could swap the tickets from the standing area into the VIP, not because I was being cheeky, but because my friend, who's fit as it was, had literally lacerated his thumb, and being in a swaying crowd was probably going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
He just said, "Yeah, no worries. he said, yeah, don't sort of, all I ask you to do is the four of you can have guest access, VIP, but just make sure that you give your four tickets to a good cause. If I found out you sold them, I went, well, why would I do that? He said, well, just pay it forward. So we did. We gave four tickets to two couples who couldn't get tickets. And the snowball effect of that was, God, that's another podcast on its own.
I mean, it's one thing I talk about. I'm not religious in the slightest. I find if people want to have faith, that's great, but it's not for me. But I've always said I'm Christian with a small c. Do the right thing. Do unto others, just be a good person. And that's essentially what you're talking about. I think it's just do the right thing, and hopefully it comes back around, and you get the benefits, and you don't do it for the benefits, but you kind of hope that somebody else will do it. And like I say, it's a pay it forward thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm wired. My conditioning was to be a good person, and so therefore my internal thinking system is do good, be nice, be kind, be generous, be helpful. And therefore, I seek those things out in my world, in my external world. So I'm always looking, how can I help people? So I have to really zip it and realize that sometimes your partner or friends might just want you they know what you're capable of, but sometimes they just want you to sit there and say nothing and just listen, because what they need is just to get it out of their system. They don't need you to improve or solve it. And I've learned, so many different skills over the years, and again through error by, as you said, Ross, wanting to help people, and it's instinct.
Yeah.
You just got to curb it and think, actually, what do they just want to share it? So just listen, because that for them, that's their currency. That's what some people call them love languages, but for me, it's just understanding people's different frequencies.
So we've got you working at the V Festival, etc., with the
yeah.
I still feel we've got about another 15 years to go till we get up to date.
I can fast forward pretty quickly.
yeah, no offence, Si. I'm just conscious people going, how long's this episode? Welcome to part 2 of our interview with Simon Calderbank. We've got up to 1986.
Well, I've got a lot of years in the tank.
It's got a lot.
You're not much older than me, Si.
I come back to Manchester, found again another brilliant home, working with Studio North and Michael De Paula and Nick. That's where
For those that don't know, Studio North, what
an amazing brand agency in Manchester, and that was like finding home. Always been. It's not luck, is it? You find what you attract. And I just found a kindred spirit in Michael and Nick, or kindred spirits, and then it just worked. And they needed someone like me who got experience of working in big ad agencies. So,
sorry, at no point in the previous 45 minutes have you mentioned any experience of working in big ad agencies, Si?
Sorry, yeah, I did 4 years after leaving the events industry. I went into proper creative digital marketing, live events agencies.
What, down south?
I went from working in small boutique family firms to working for big indie. Well, they were privately owned, but they were massive, like 150 people strong. You were pitching from doing £30,000 pitches and thinking you were like Rockefeller to then pitching £1.5 million projects. Where the royal family and the Saudi princes, you were pitching for jobs like that. It's just, and again, another good tip someone said, don't look at the price, don't look at the number, don't look at the size of the project, just look at the people.
Yeah.
He said, look at the people. That's all you focus on. Otherwise, you'll be overwhelmed by the fact that this job is worth £1.5 million. He said, but it's just people. So put your efforts into getting to know the people. What makes them tick? What are they after? What are their signals? What are their distresses?
What's the solution? What they're looking for? What they're trying to achieve? How do we make it possible?
Yeah, it just happens. It's got a big number on it, but that's not the important part. It's what solution can you provide that's going to answer their prayers. And,
so you did your 4 years down in the smoke, working for a big agency, and went, no, I've got the calling. I need to go back up to Mancunia. You ended up with True North. See?
I know he did, and came back with the family, with a young lad, Joe, and a bun in the oven, which was Ella. So Ella was born up north. I ended up working in Manchester, loved it, was really successful. Ended up working on a bonkers event called Twitfaced, which is where I think, again, kind of rediscovered my love for socializing and connecting people. And that was amazing. And like anything, I suppose it takes its toll when you're commuting every day from the Lake District to Manchester. Your job entails, and Chris will know this, you network early morning because that's where a lot of people do the networking. A lot of people network at night. So you end up you burn the candle at both ends. And eventually someone loses. And it was me who lost because it meant that the family home sort of, let's say, it evaporated. But I couldn't maintain being a husband and a dad and a full-time, I suppose, business professional when I lived. It was a 3 to 4 hour round trip every day. And something gave, and unfortunately it was the family. And that's, we have a good cordial relationship now, me and Sarah. Because of the kids, we always said kids come first and we'll put every decision, it's for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was harrowing when you don't get married to get divorced. And it wasn't like it was just fell out of love because our lives went down different routes. And they're still happy in the Lake District, and I'm still happy in Manchester. So it worked, but it makes you realise another tipping point. You think, right, well, God, where's my life going? What am I doing? I've kind of left the marital home. I'm still a dad, but I'm an ex-husband, and that's where I met. You mentioned impossible to inevitable. That's where I met Mike Finnegan. Another great tipping point, somebody who took me under his wing, saw something in me that I'd never realised and said, you're a maverick, you're a bit out there, but I'm looking for people who can go and teach what I do, which is, I suppose it was like high performance, motivational, positive psychology.
Who's Mike Finnegan? I don't know.
Mike Finnegan is the owner of a firm called I2I. So they were a training company, but they specialised in high performance. So real high performance mindset. Worked with lots of big celebs, big sporting background. And so Mike was an ex-footballer, played for Blackburn Rovers. So his whole work, he loved helping those big, I'd say profile sort of sports people, the likes of Freddie Flintoff. He worked with, Darren Clark, the golfer. He worked with loads of athletes, the South African cricket team. And everything he did, he helped move people from impossible to inevitable. And he took me under his wing and said, I'm going to help you to become a coach and a trainer.
Can you explain the impossible to inevitable bit? Go on, in plain English.
Basically, it's almost like, yeah. When we think that something is impossible, we put barriers in the way. We enable our thinking patterns to stop us from actually achieving what it is that we can achieve, because our thinking patterns have been wired into us for decades. They're invisible. And again, the idea that things are impossible, Mike basically just would, he would prove through a lot of neurobiology, neuroscience, positive psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, that actually, if you knew how to unwire yourself and rewire yourself, things that were inevitable suddenly, or impossible, suddenly started to look more inevitable. And Chris, you came on my first program. I had to bring 18 people to a room, not just for an hour or 2 hours, but for 3 podding days.
Yeah.
And I've never done that in my life. And I chose people who I respected and who I thought would benefit, because I knew what this stuff, I knew what this program would do, because it had massively helped me get through a marriage breakdown, and it had given me a new lease of life. All of a sudden, I realised that things I thought I couldn't do, I could do. All the actions I'd done in the past now made sense, because it had been explained to me why I behaved the way I behaved all my life. Yeah. All I wanted to do was go out there and share it. So that's what we did, and it's the best experience.
Massive impact on me, honestly, Simon. Massive impact on me. First of all, it was the understanding how I can realise what I actually wanted even if it was the small things, writing it down to the bigger picture. And one of the small things, it's just a very quick story. I was running. I liked running at the time, and I was doing 5 kilometers, just about getting there in about half an hour. And I thought, what a brilliant focus or a sort of achievement for me would be to be able to do it in 20 minutes, which was impossible. Absolutely impossible. There's no way I could do 5k in 20 minutes. I was doing it in 30 and it was a hard slog. How could I cut it down by a third? Take all that time off. There's no way. And with your help and the planning, and we talked about neurologistics and how your brain works and how you focus and understanding what you want. And I could say it took me a few weeks, but I did it. And I was running 5k in under 20 minutes, which is, even for me now, this was a long time ago. There's no way I'd be able to do it now, or maybe I would. But the first step was understanding what I wanted, and that was almost the sort of frightening part. Actually, you can look at small things, you can look at the big picture, but to go through that process was just a massive achievement, and that was just one thing. And I'm sure I could talk about half a dozen things that I gained from that course.
Is it like the... Sorry, after you, Simon.
No, go on, Ross.
I was going to say, is it like the eating the elephant thing? How do you eat an elephant? One small piece at a time, essentially.
Yeah.
Just break it.
Oh, yeah, baby steps. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps was big phrase that I learned from Colders. You could look at that massive mountain, or look at a big sales, talk about business development. You've got a £6 million target for this year. How am I going to make £6 million? Well, we start at the bottom.
Every great journey starts with the first step.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That
acorns and oak trees.
Acorns and oak trees.
And I remember, Chris, when you told us you'd done that 20 minutes, and said, "Well, what have we done? What have we done?" And you said, "What was the difference?" He said, "The things I was saying to myself, I was wasting so much energy telling myself what I couldn't do. I just realised that if I changed the way I talked to myself, it would free up." And it was almost as if the very fact your self-talk was so much more productive and useful and geared to helping you get to that 20-minute 5k.
Yeah.
It's almost like it gave you extra speed.
Yeah.
You said, all I've done is change how I think. That's bonkers.
Yeah.
But it did. And we told a story about a UK athlete who'd done exactly the same thing. She'd wiped minutes off her personal best. And it was because she changed the way she thought about herself.
Yeah.
It makes you go faster. Yeah, because your energy is not focused on all the things you can't do. It's focused on the things you can do. And that was your big breakthrough. And we were all going, oh my God, this stuff. Your story got me into running. But if he can do it, and I know this stuff, I'll do it. So it's amazing what one person's breakthrough then makes someone else's barrier. Well, if he can do it, I'm doing it. And in that room, those 3 days, I've never known. It was almost like someone had literally, in the air conditioning, they just put a load of endorphins and serotonins and dopamine and just pipes it through.
Yeah.
Everyone was high as kites.
Yeah.
And that fix that people got, some people it wore off. That's fine. They had the moment and it wore off because, it drained them. But other people, if I look back at that room, of all the people in that room that day, probably think of about half a dozen who have grown hugely. Who's you in that?
Yeah.
Lucy Lovett, Sam Jones, Helen Pritchard. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The woman who couldn't, do you know what I'm saying? That she was agoraphobic. She'd never caught a bloody train to London. Mm-hmm. And then she turned into the LinkedIn queen who's off around, so.
Different person.
It changed. People rewired the thinking patterns.
Yeah.
And that for me was like, oh, I love this. How do I do more of this? And that's where I am right now. So there you go, guys. We've just lost about 10 years in 10 seconds.
No, you'd say things like, because I talked about the car that I wanted, and I wrote down the colour of the alloys and the style of it and everything about it, the insurance and what songs I was going to listen to and what it would feel like holding the steering wheel, and I did it.
And then you sent me
I always worry.
You shared the picture.
Cynical old Yorkshireman alert. I always worry. I get it, and we all do it. We might not necessarily know the terms and the terminology and the clever way of putting it, but we try and focus on positives. But I always worry that this kind of stuff veers into manifestation in the kind of cosmic ordering kind of thing, and that's when I start going, "Oh, bollocks, isn't it?" But I'm maybe a cynic, but I'm also I can understand you need a positive attitude with things.
Yeah.
If you keep saying I'm never going to be able to do this, believe in yourself.
Yeah,
and I think
You
that's
do.
what it all boils down to.
But you also need a system. And it's all steeped in neuroscience. You know, it is, end of the day, our wiring systems are, you know, they're there, they're invisible. So a lot of people, you know, I call it quicksand, cognitive quicksand, because all they do is they identify the symptoms, they identify the patterns, but they don't go to the root cause. They've ever changed, and your thinking systems have embedded. You know, think about us guys, and I've got a 58, almost 59-year-old thinking infrastructure. But when I got to 50, my thinking infrastructure shifted massively. Probably a wee bit before then. So therefore, I realised that if I carried on with the same operating system, I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
And Mike Finnegan taught me how I could rebuild an operating system, the one that I wanted, the one that I chose, as opposed to the one that I've been living with all my life, which was, it was good, but it was, how can I put it? It was full of glitches and bugs. And all I was doing was layering stuff on top of a faulty operating system and wondering why things never worked out.
Do you think it's the you working around things? You know,
Yeah, because
it isn't joined up. I'll work around the issues rather than fixing them.
so all you're doing is putting, I think, we always said it. It's like, oh, just use your willpower. Willpower's like a sticking plaster, which means it'll come off. And it is that. And I think a lot of us think, I'll read this book or I'll do this course. And yeah, it's great. You get you get a buzz and you get the insights and the knowledge. But that knowledge and insights doesn't change the operating system. It just adds another plaster onto it. So therefore, you have to go with the root cause and change the operating system. So when you understand how to do that, that's when you can think, oh, right, so I can actually recreate another version of me, the master of reinvention. God, she knew me better than I did. And that's what it is. And that isn't cosmic. That is just basic neurobiology, but no one knows it. People aren't taught that at school. And we were gifted that by Mike. And to see people's shifts because they embraced it and they realized that, Jesus, I built my own operating system, therefore I can build another one. Yeah, just might take a bit of time for the older one to disappear or wither, but your new one will certainly come on board so long as you do that key thing, repetition. Practice, practice, practice. Be persistent. There's no such thing as perfection, but there's a certain thing called persistence. And to do that, you need to understand how you think. And that's what I teach. That's what I help people with now is how can they think more reliably when they're under pressure? Because anyone can think when there's no pressure. It's easy. Everyone can be, I'm in the room or in the zone. But when the stakes are high and shit hits the fan, most people default to their old thinking patterns. And that's fine, you know, but lo and behold, they don't know what they need. No.
I
people who succeed are the ones who recognise that.
Yeah. I mean, I often say to the kids usually, so between myself and the other half, we've got 3 kids, 23, 20, 18. And if they ever complain about things, you know, personal or, you know, professional or whatever, like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Yeah, the typical bloke thing of suggesting things. But if they're not prepared to try anything and they'd rather just sit there and whinge, I find it difficult to have sympathy. And it's the similar kind of thing. If you're going to complain about your situation, change it. And if you're not going to change it, just accept it then. Because, you know, the alternative is you sit there bitching about it constantly.
But that's their operating system kicking in.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't know any different because no one's kind of said. I think one thing that we were always told in those early workshops that I was, isn't it funny how you get a manual for your bloody mobile phone, you get one for your stereo, and I'm talking like, you know, your hi-fi system. You get one for your car. Yeah, oh, thank you. But you never get one for your in life. There's no manual that says how to be a dad. There's no manual that says how to be a mother. But there's no manual that says this is how you work. In other words, this is how you hold the most important computer in the world is the one that's inside your head. And we still don't know enough about it. We know more about outer space than we do about the human brain. How mad's that? And there's no manual for it. So all we did at I2I was, I suppose, give people enough of the manual they needed to be able to make decisions about, well, actually, if I want to run 20K5, I want to run 5K in 20 minutes. All right, so you're going to show me a way to do it. Yeah, but I'm not doing it for you. You need to apply it, work it, see it. And when it works, you're all, okay, no, that works. And then lo and behold, Chris became the serial runner. He then influenced people like me and many, many, many others, Andy Hall, to keep running. Because his story was inspirational, because it was like, he's logged off 10 minutes. He's not had any physical training. He's had mental training.
It just shows that that's the most powerful muscle. That's the one that, makes you win or lose.
Or win or learn.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
That's
win
it.
or learn.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela, there's no such thing as losing. You just win or you learn.
You learn, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
No such thing as loss. Just win or learn. And that's all we did, was teach people and show people a manual that if they applied it and they believed in it, but they needed to know the science before they could appreciate. If you said, right, here you go, here's some techniques. Oh, these are brilliant. Guaranteed they'd wear off in a day.
Yeah.
Because there's no substance. It's like you don't build a house with it. You don't build a house on sand. Some people might do.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
You need the foundation. You need the infrastructure. And then once you've got that, and somebody go, oh my God, it's boring this. I've done a day of this. Trust me. When we get to day 2, you'll be rocking.
Yeah, it's like anything. Once you learn the rules and the guidelines and you get to understand them, you know when to break them as well.
Yeah,
you know when to bend them.
Yeah, you know why it works. And then when it does work, you go, oh my God, that's because I understand the science. And I'm not talking, God, you could talk about the brain for 9 years. We did it in about 120 minutes. You just give people what they need to know to be able to make the choices. You said it. You can either stay as you are, or you can implement change. But you can't just implement change. You need to know what levers to pull. So just like in marketing, or in biz dev, it's about what levers do I need to pull to bring more people through my pipeline. Well, I could do nothing and just wait for the door, someone to knock on the door, and that might work. But the more effort I do over here, it's likely that unless my effort's ineffective, I'm going to get some traction.
I had a friend ring me yesterday. Rang me yesterday. He's works for himself, but he's been struggling the last few months, probably the last 6-9 months, and he's got the opportunity for a job, and he just wanted to talk through his options. And he said, the thing is, I could get a phone call tomorrow, or somebody knocks on the door, and a decent enough contract lands that I don't have these worries. Well, they could, yeah. Did anybody knock on the door today? Well, no. Did they yesterday? No. So what makes you think they're going to tomorrow? If you're not doing anything different, yes, something could happen. But you need to work in the assumption it's not going to. And he's like, yeah, I think you're probably right. I said, I'm not telling you to take the job, mate. But, will you be losing your house in 2 months? Well, I said, well, that's what you're going to think about. So you have to sometimes do things you don't want to do if it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Is that these the type of things that you're doing at the moment, Simon, with the target demographic that you're working with at the moment?
Yeah, working with
around. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, thinking infrastructures. I've done a lot of mindset work, which was always helpful, but it only took people so far. So now, say the focus is really about leading with, like how do we get you to upgrade your operating system? If your computer's got a bug, you fix it. And we are an operating system, so I suppose that my focus is how do I teach people to be able to make better decisions with better intentions and better actions? Well, change the way you think. And I've always done that. That's kind of been I always say to people, look, I'll demonstrate to you that, that how you think determines how you perform. And I suppose when you do that in a 45-minute sort of presentation, people get the buzz because the front part of their brain is alive, it's busy, and oh my God. And then as soon as they go back to the office or they go to the shop, what did he say? It fades like that because because it will. So therefore, the idea is you've got to tax the wrong word. You've got to focus on the part of the brain that actually is where the operating system works, and that's your subconscious.
You've got to
That's
forget people.
that's where everything's stored, isn't it? You've got to go for that. So this is about giving people the tools to understand why they think the way they do and how they've built those thinking patterns. And they've done it. You don't buy them. Therefore, if they built one operating system, guess what? You can build another one. And a lot of people go, "Oh, I can't do that. It's easier said than done." And one of our mentors, Chris, remember him, Steve, the guy who was ex-copper, and he was my teacher. So he was the person who was marking me. And he went, "Stop with that, Simon, because it is easy. It's as easy as ABC." And everyone laughed in the room, and he went, "You won't be laughing in a couple of days' time when you see it in action." It is easy, but we put barriers in the way because it's easier just to stay as we are. Because
I don't think it's just we do it. I think society does it to us.
Yeah,
We're told that's your box, stay in it.
that's your lane now, isn't it? Oh,
stay in your lane. How dare you have opinions on something? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want a 3-lane motorway, dickhead. I don't just want to stay on this single track country road.
But you choose your lane, therefore, is the lane right for you? And a lot of people become like staying in the comfort zone.
Yeah,
because it's comfortable, and stepping out of it creates conflict and challenge. But if you know how to navigate that conflict and challenge, therefore you can build another comfort zone. So, oh my God, I've got different comfort zones. Yeah, of course you have. We only use 1 or 2% of our brain capacity. Just let that sink in.
Yeah, what's that film? Is it Lucy? The Scarlett Johansson film where she takes some drugs and keeps bumping up her brain capacity, doesn't she? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Limitless is a similar concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Imagine what we could do with using more of the capacity that we have,
and drugs apparently.
Oh, now you're talking different world, mate.
It's a different podcast. I think we should charge people to listen to this podcast. The value that they're going to get from the conversations that we've had with Mr. Calderbank. I think.
And no drugs were taken during this podcast, by the way.
Chris, the only problem is he'll want us to pay him. Yeah, and we don't want that.
We don't want that.
No, we don't have the budget for that kind of thing. Well, I do think we're in danger of turning into 3 blokes in a pub. If we're not very careful. Talk about
that's how it's felt. Though that's what I was looking forward to. It's like being in a pub, even though I'm not with you, and I've got a pint, but it's full of water.
A pint of water.
And it's been the most enjoyable chat because you've opened up memories that I've not told that Paul McCartney story for fucking years. But you asked me about my past. It's oh my God, there's so many of those wonderful tales of achievement and fulfillment, and not just for me, but for everyone. Imagine the guy from Ofcom who got the taxi up to Liverpool to see his hero.
That's a story to tell, isn't it?
Jesus, he loved it. But he's a person that I'd got to know really, really well. So whenever I wanted special licenses for radio frequencies, it never a problem. He said, "I'll do anything for you because you're such a nice guy, and I know how much it means to you." So he bought into the tribe, and I never met him. He was always just a voice or an email.
But what I love about doing this thing is you've been smiling pretty much constantly for an hour.
Yeah.
So have I.
Well,
yeah. The 3 smiling assassins. Well, not assassins, though. We're just people who like to do good.
Yeah. And you think about the experiences that have come out. You only touched briefly on Twit-Faced, and for me, I always think about Mark Cadwallader, a good friend of ours who was a part of it, who's no longer with us. But the experiences that have come out of Studio North and Twit-Faced and Eye to Eye and everything that you've done. I mean, I'm very pleased to have been part of it, Colders, and I'm not just saying that. It's
you make it.
It's had a massive
people
impact.
Who make it. Yeah. You create a framework and you fill it with the right people.
Wow.
And that's the beautiful thing. And everyone you meet, there's a reason, isn't there? It's like
yeah.
The reason you meet people, and some of them last a season, and then some of them last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And everyone falls into their own little lane, if we use that analogy.
Sure.
And it's just realizing that you look back and think, all the people I've met and all the people who've touched my life and whose lives I've touched. And yeah, you meet some absolute clowns, particularly when you run nightclubs, you meet many clowns. And you still see some of them, and they're doing really, really well, but they're still in that same lane, and they're bloody millionaires. And they look at me and go, why didn't you stay doing running clubs? I said, because it was just a season for me.
Mm.
It wasn't a lifetime. I could got to be dead.
You're the Michael Carrick of nightclubs.
The Michael Carrick. I was known as Mr. Sensible. I was Mr. Saturday Night, the most sensible club promoter in Manchester. Because no one ever saw me lose it. Because I had a duty of care to look after 2,000 people every night.
Yeah.
I partied when everyone else had gone home.
On that note, should we say goodbye, Chris?
Party.
I've really enjoyed today. I mean,
so
like I say, I was genuinely looking forward to it, and I'm sure the listeners will have got a lot from it as well. So, how do people get in touch with you, Simon? If they liked what they heard and they want to know more, how do they get back in touch with you?
If they're out in Bramhall about 6:30 every morning, they'll probably see me traipsing around the streets listening to podcasts. LinkedIn is that's the best place to find me, on LinkedIn. I post quite frequently, and yeah, I'm in it probably every sort of day. But yeah.
What about your website? The Big Nose website?
Website it's bignose.co.uk, so it's big-knows.co.uk. But I'd say LinkedIn is probably more relevant.
Yeah.
I think my website, whilst it's stylistically, it's a lovely website. I don't think it really tells the most up-to-date story, which is probably a good little talking of business and marketing. Probably a good little nudge for me to give it a little bit of a makeover. LinkedIn is more.
You could pay us both to do it for you. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yay! Well, it does need it. It needs bringing up to speed, but that's all.
Yeah.
I like running, so you might see me pounding the pavements. I'm not in Chris's league, but I certainly enjoy.
You
running.
are apparently.
You're well out. You're Speedy Gonzalez. You're well out. What's you're doing 10Ks at the moment?
I've only ever got to 10Ks. I always found I watched a half marathon on Sunday. I was at a half marathon on Sunday, just watching my Diane's daughter Jess. She's a serial runner. She's in marathon training, and someone said you could do that, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to. It's not because I said you could do it. I said, yeah, but when I do a 10K, when I see that 9K, and it's probably my own barrier, I just think, God, one to go, smash it. And for me, that's enough. The sense of achievement I get from doing that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's no real, and I think someone said, why? I said, well, it's not because I get bored, but I lose, what's the word I'm looking for? The way I'm wired, I'm thinking, right, I've done this now. What's next?
Lost focus.
Being in a twice as long run, I'd be all, and I can do it. I just choose not to.
But you got to remember. You got to remember, Si, you're close to 60. I'm mid 50s. Chris is late 40s. He hasn't got a clue what's around the corner. He doesn't appreciate bad knees.
50. I've got fitter as I've got older because I want to live a better life.
Yeah.
So operating system change. And to answer your question, 10K, my best is I think about 48:42.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
That last year at Manchester.
There you go.
So wow. I want to do 45, mate. So I'm in a running club every Tuesday and Wednesday training. No running, well, it is running, but it's just proper training with people who are like Apollo. I am literally going, there's a guy my age who is doing a 10K in 35 and a half minutes.
Jesus.
And he's 59. He's top 10 in the UK.
Yeah. It just shows you can do it.
I think about 10 minutes ago, I tried to say goodbye.
You can do it. You can do it.
Go to the pub. I am doing it. There you go. I am doing it. And watch this space.
You know how to get hold of Simon? LinkedIn or big-knows. Though he says LinkedIn is probably the best bet. If you want to get hold of me, rossbrown.co.uk.
And if you want to get hold of me, it's agentsof.co.uk.
I think we've definitely broken this is now the longest one, I think.
We could have carried on talking, though.
We could have carried on talking
all afternoon.
I don't know if people are going to carry on listening, though, as entertaining as all three of us are. So, yeah, Si, I think we'll have to continue this in the pub sometime in the very near future.
Thank you, guys. It's been a real pleasure to see both of you and to be supporting something that I know you guys are going to really, really sort of smash. Because
thanks a lot, mate. That means a lot.
It's good. Honestly, it's been brilliant. Everything about it has been
we really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, thank you.
Nostalgic and forward-thinking.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to say it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
See you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you.